hey, you can get some cool and fun rewards for helping me help kids. Stick around after the video for more information. All right, well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Joker? Stick around and find out. Yeah! Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review for Joker. The synopsis on IMDb says, Joker centers around an origin of the iconic arch-nemesis, and is an original standalone story not seen before on the big screen. Todd Phillips' exploration of Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix, a man disregarded by society, is not only a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale. Okay, I would have started with the Todd Phillips exploration of Arthur Fleck, a man disregarded by society, is not only a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale. That's all accurate. That describes this movie. What does not describe this movie is Joker centers around an origin of the iconic arch-nemesis. Of course, arch-nemesis of Batman, right? And is an original standalone story not seen before on the big screen. Okay, that's accurate. Okay, this is... I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I want you guys to know what you're in for, so you can decide if this is something that you want to see or not. This is a quiet Joaquin Phoenix drama with scarce bursts of intensity. That's what this is. I could just leave the review almost at that. If Joaquin Phoenix does these quiet character dramas, if you like those and you want another one, then this is for you, and I think it's a good one at that. It's a good, quiet Joaquin Phoenix character drama that also happens to have some aspects of DC lore and aesthetics of the Joker kind of splashed onto it in some key places here and there. But it never fully opens up into a full-scale Joker versus Gotham story. Now, we could assume from the trailer that we're not going to see Batman in the story. It takes place in the 70s. We see in the trailer what fans, figured out pretty quickly is a young Bruce Wayne in the story. So this is about some kind of like prototype Joker, or a Joker that if he does appear in the DC movies later on will have to be aged up or something. Joaquin Phoenix is already, a little bit on the older side to play this character. Well, I guess maybe not compared to Jack Nicholson, but anyway. So the movie never opens up to what I would consider like a Joker movie where the Joker is having a big effect on Gotham City in the way that you would expect the Joker to have a big effect on Gotham City, Yeah, I have to leave it at that. Although he's a working clown and a comedian throughout the movie, he doesn't fully become, I don't think, the Joker, and they actually never put "the" before it. He never truly fully becomes Joker until the last 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. So don't expect him to kind of like, for this to be the usual formula of, we're going to use the first 45 minutes or hour to tell the origin story, and then this character is going to be in their fullness for the rest of the movie. This is not that. The whole thing is his origin story, and it's not till the very end that he really becomes Joker. And even then, I don't think he's a worthy opponent for Batman, or like any superhero for that matter. Even, take one of DC's like third tier, not very impressive superheroes, and this version of quote-unquote Joker would not be a threat to them. He, at the end of this movie, still strikes me as a pathetic figure, one that you would maybe feel sad for at most. He is dangerous, but he's only dangerous when he gets the drop on people. He is not a criminal mastermind. He is not threatening in the way that the Joker is almost always threatening in the last, 20 years of various forms of media in which the Joker appears. The Joker aesthetics and DC Comics lore are very sparse throughout this movie. It does take place in Gotham City. Thomas and Martha Wayne are characters. Bruce Wayne is, in this as well. You even see someone who is probably Alfred Pennyworth. In fact, that's confirmed by the credits, but he's never named that, So there are these other, little bits of DC Comics lore and Batman lore, but it's very sparse. It's very sparse. In fact, someone that had never, I mean, I know this is, kind of crazy to think about, but if someone had never heard of DC Comics, this would not be a weird movie to them. It would just be like, oh, it's a drama about this man who's really has mental illness issues and he works as a clown, it would totally work as that. It never opens up into comic bookiness at all, in my opinion. Defendor is a more comic booky movie than this movie, and that is, up to this point, the most grounded, what I would call superhero or crime fighter type, well, I don't want to say crime fighter, the most grounded and realistic superhero movie I've ever seen. This is probably a companion to Defendor in some ways, in that it would be the most grounded and realistic supervillain movie I've ever seen, but even that, I would argue, I don't think it's a supervillain movie, because he is not a supervillain by the end of this movie or at any point during this movie. I really want, I like grounded, serious comic book movies, and so if you've been listening to my reviews and you know my tastes and stuff, you might be surprised to hear me say I wasn't thrilled with this movie. This really wasn't the experience that I wanted to have. And that's because even though I say very often, man, I want psychological realism, or what I would maybe more accurately call faux psychological realism, even the most, serious dramas that try to be psychologically realistic, at the end of the day, they are fictional constructs. They cannot really be realistic. It's all relative, right? But anyway, I like something that leans purposefully towards psychological realism, and I would say, but I don't want that at the expense of comic bookiness. And that's, again, what's comic booky to one person isn't going to be to another and stuff. This went too far in stripping away comic booky elements and elements of the Joker as we've known him in the comics and in other mediums for decades. It went too far in stripping those elements away as part of an effort to make it psychologically realistic. What I want is that sweet spot where they are really leaning for psychological realism, but they also have, villains with gimmicks and costumes, and superheroes that are wearing costumes that, evoke who they are and what symbol they represent or whatever. For me, I would say my sweet spot is Man of Steel. I would also say Batman versus Superman, maybe to a slightly lesser degree. I know that, a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, that's a very divisive or divisive movie, but Man of Steel I would reference as, or maybe even the first Iron Man movie. The first Iron Man movie would be my sweet spot between having grounded psychological realism and those comic booky, elements. And this one goes too far in stripping away the comic book stuff, as it is bringing all the psychological realism to bear, which I liked. I liked all that, but I didn't like what they sacrificed along the way. As a story, it had a couple nice turns I didn't expect that fit really well and kept me guessing and wondering where the movie was going to go, so I appreciated it for that. I never felt enough compassion for Arthur Fleck, Joker, to even come close to crying. He was still an interesting character to watch. He just wasn't any type of Joker that I want to see again in a future movie by himself, or certainly I don't want to see him mingled in with the rest of the DC universe as the Joker that Batman is going up against. I would have preferred that they mined more from the Alan Moore story, The Killing Joke, which I recently talked about as part of my Essential Issues review series. I wish they would have mined more of that for his backstory and his psychotic break. But maybe that's being saved for the Jared Leto Joker in the DC Universe movies. I don't know. I do hope we see the Jared Leto Joker again, just with stronger dialogue and more interesting things to do. I liked his performance. I felt like it was the material that was falling short for him. Okay, so moving on. Cast. Great performance by Joaquin Phoenix. I really believed in the reality of his mental illness. Everyone else did a solid job too. I don't have anything to say about that. Again, it's just another solid character drama, from Joaquin Phoenix, and what you would expect from that, and in the cast that is supporting him. It's As far as stunts and visuals, it's not really that kind of movie. There's no action scenes, really. There's some scenes where people are running and being chased, and there are a few bursts of violence, but it's not like a chase sequence, where you're like jumping and weaving and diving and, oh, look what he's doing now. It's not that kind of thing, It's just running away from crimes that were committed. Nothing complicated. There are nice sets and costumes, though. I think it recreates the 70s period that the movie is set in pretty well. So as far as relevance, is there any moral, philosophical, spiritual stuff going on in the themes of this story that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? I think this movie wants us to value the outcast. Arthur is picked on and abused throughout this movie because he's odd, because he's socially awkward or otherwise unusual in the estimation of other people. This really describes some of us as geeks. And if you're a geek that doesn't struggle with social skills, then you probably have enough geeky friends that you know someone who does struggle socially. So this is something that we as geeks are familiar with. And this movie reminded me that even though my instinct might be to avoid people who are socially awkward, or it's hard to carry a conversation with them, or maybe they're grating and irritating in some way because of their social awkwardness and their personality traits that they don't have enough self-awareness about. Despite that being kind of like my instinctual reaction, this movie reminded me that, when I run into those kinds of people, I need to remember they probably have some difficult things going on in their lives that, either were or in their past that maybe helped create some of their social awkwardness, or they have difficult things going on in their life because of their social awkwardness. But I mean, the point is, my instinct should not be to recoil or to avoid, but to willingly give up my comforts and expend the energy necessary to invest time in someone like that. We are, I think, so quick in general, all of us, to mentally dehumanize those who are unusual or abrasive, thinking of them as, that other person, or weirdos, or people that just aren't worth our energy or whatever. But everyone has a story and everyone has a struggle that we don't know about. That doesn't necessarily excuse their actions. This movie doesn't, I don't think, ask us to excuse Arthur Fleck, but it does want us to take some time to try and understand him. And the real people that we run across in life certainly deserve that much, I think. Now, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, Redbox this one maybe at some point when you want specifically a quiet Joaquin Phoenix drama. That's what this is. It's really good for that. Arthur Fleck is an interesting character for a quiet character drama. But that's all this is, despite the title and the trailer and some aesthetics that are peppered in the movie now and then. This is not the Joker movie you're looking for. Move along, right? You can get my spoiler-filled reactions to Joker in my Spoiler Car video series, just one of many perks available for your support over at patreon.com/spiritblade productions. This one's rated R for strong, bloody violence, disturbing behavior, language, and brief sexual images. Right now, I'd like to take some time to write a tune for pre-made rhyme. The lyrics kind of never change, but the melody gets rearranged. I never know what I'll create to say how much I appreciate Brian Franklin, Gabriel Stinson, Colin Wright, Lee Bray, Stefan Kramick, and Winston Crutchfield. Thank you for supporting me and SPP and CGC. And now to all who hear this tune, thank you as well. Please come back soon. Want to hear your name in song? Check out the page on Patreon. I don't know what the crap that was. I'm very sorry about that. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell. Anything you want to do to share this content or stay connected to it, I'd be really grateful for that. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get info about the benefits of joining again at patreon.com/spiritblade productions. Then I hope you'll join us soon over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Hey, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. For my 6th consecutive year, I'm participating in Extra Life, a charity event that raises funds to provide medical care for children in urgent need. I'm also leading the Christian Geek Central Extra Life team, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. Once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/christiangeekcentral Central and christiangeekcentral.com beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 2nd. You can donate on my page or on any team member's page by following the links below, where you will also find incentives and rewards for doing so. For example, on my page, for $5 or more, you can choose a topic to add to my +3 page of many topics that I'll be blabbing my opinions on during the live stream. For $10 or more, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 2nd live stream. Pick a favorite or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. For $30 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 2nd live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something no one wants to hear. And for $50 or more, you get all the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's an $80 value. On top of that, I've set fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 6th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for that free download day. I will also let my boys tickle me for 1 minute straight during my November 2nd live stream. And depending on how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, I will cover my face in peanut butter and jelly while talking about horror movies, put on a Frozen Solid t-shirt the morning of my live stream while playing video of me singing soothing classical music at my senior recital in college, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, get my wife Holly to play a game with me for 30 minutes of the live stream, or the granddaddy of all milestones, squirm intensely, mortified while showing an embarrassing video clip from the original stage version of Spirit Blade. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope you'll be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central team do some good for some kids who really need it. And then, please join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, November 2nd. Hope to see you there.